When you put that piece of fish on your plate tonight, are you quietly shaving years off the life you want to live with your grandkids or adding them? I know that sounds strong, but stick with me for just a minute. After 65, every single bite starts to count twice as much because your body doesn't bounce back like it used to. The inflammation that some fish can cause doesn't just give you a sore joint anymore. It can steal your energy, fog your memory, and make you worry you'll end up depending on everyone else instead of enjoying the independence you've worked your whole life for. I've watched friends who used to dance at weddings now struggle to get out of a chair, and a lot of it came down to the wrong foods slipping onto their plates week after week. The scary part, the four fishes we're told are healthy are actually some of the worst for our hearts, brains, and bones after 60. Top heart doctors at Mayo Clinic and Harvard have been ringing the alarm bells, and almost none of us over 65 are listening. But here's the good news. Once you know exactly which four to push away forever and which four to welcome, everything changes. You get your energy back, your mind stays sharp, and you keep doing the things you love. Ready to find out the very first fish hiding in plain sight right now. Let's start with the one sitting in almost every freezer aisle and restaurant menu across America. But hold on, because what it's doing inside your arteries will shock you. Here's the fish that scares me the most for folks our age: tilapia. You walk into any diner, supermarket, or even a fancy place, and there it is, tilapia fillets, cheap, mild, heart healthy, they say. But listen close. A major study out of Wake Forest University found that tilapia has one of the worst omega-6 to omega-3 ratios of any food on the planet, sometimes worse than a donut. After 60, too much omega-6 is like pouring gasoline on the little fires already burning in our arteries and joints. It quietly drives up inflammation, raises triglycerides, and makes blood stickier. Leading experts have suggested that eating tilapia could be worse than eating bacon when it comes to heart disease risk, and that idea has caught a lot of attention because nobody expected that from a fish. On top of that, almost all tilapia in the US is farmed in crowded ponds in China and Southeast Asia, fed cheap corn and soy, so those fillets are naturally gray. To make them look pretty and white, farmers add chemicals and dyes, stuff we definitely don't need when our livers are already working overtime. I've had friends who ate tilapia twice a week and couldn't figure out why their arthritis flared and their cholesterol shot up, even though they thought they were eating healthy. Once they dropped tilapia, a lot of them felt the difference in just weeks. But hang on, because the next fish on the list is the one that can stop a senior heart in its tracks, literally, and it's sitting on ice at every grocery store right now, Science Daily. The second fish got to push away forever, is something most of us grew up loving: fried or grilled swordfish. It looks impressive on the plate, tastes rich and meaty, and we think, hey, it's fish, it must be good for me. But here's what keeps me up at night: swordfish is one of the highest mercury fish you can eat, and after 65, mercury hits us harder because our kidneys and livers don't clear toxins like they once did. Research from leading health organizations has shown links between higher mercury levels from fish like swordfish and increased risks of heart issues, including sudden cardiac events. Your heart just stops without warning. Leading experts have suggested that for older adults, eating high mercury fish like swordfish, shark, or king mackerel is a risky choice for your heartbeat. On top of that, a single portion can contain almost your entire weekly safe mercury limit, and it builds up in your body over months. I had a neighbor, Bob, sharp as a tack at 72, loved his swordfish steak once a month. Then he had an episode of arrhythmia that landed him in the ER. Blood test came back sky high for mercury. He hasn't touched it since, and his heart rhythm is steady again. One simple swap saved him years of worry. But wait until you hear about the next fish. Harvard says it's speeding up brain aging faster than almost anything else on the shelf skate. The third fish that breaks my heart to see on a senior's plate is tuna steaks, the big, beautiful red ones you see at the butcher counter or on restaurant menus. We all grew up thinking tuna was brain food, but researchers have suggested the opposite when it's these large tuna steaks or canned albacore. Studies have found that people eating high mercury tuna like this may experience faster memory decline and changes in brain areas that control remembering names, faces, and where you left your keys. Leading experts have suggested that for anyone over 65, the risks of big tuna may outweigh any benefit because mercury is a known neurotoxin and it accumulates with age. One 6-ounce tuna steak can deliver 5 to 10 times the mercury of a small can of light tuna, and because we clear it slower now, it parks itself in the brain for months. My sister-in-law used to treat herself to seared ahi tuna every Friday night. Within 2 years, she was forgetting her grandkids' birthdays and panicking. She was losing her mind. She switched to safer choices, and her last brain scan actually showed improvement. That's how fast it can turn around once you stop the poison. But hold on, because the fourth fish is the sneakiest of all. It looks healthy, costs a fortune, and is quietly wrecking senior guts every single day, memory morsels. Or the fourth fish that should never touch your fork again is farmed Atlantic salmon, the bright orange pink stuff labeled fresh in every grocery stores and served everywhere from cruises to church suppers. You'd think salmon is the gold standard, but 90% of what we buy is raised in crowded ocean pens and fed pellets made of chicken feathers, soy, and fish meal from who knows where. To keep the fish alive in those conditions, farmers pump in antibiotics, and to make the gray flesh turn that pretty color we expect, they add synthetic dyes called astaxanthin and canthaxanthin. Leading experts who study this full time have suggested that eating farmed salmon is like eating processed food in disguise. Studies have found that eating farmed salmon regularly may lead to higher levels of persistent organic pollutants and potential changes in gut health. After 60, our gut lining is already thinner, lose those good bacteria, and you get bloating, weaker immunity, and even mood dips that make you feel old overnight. I watched my buddy Ray eat healthy, farmed salmon every week and wonder why his stomach was always upset and his energy tanked. He switched to the fish we'll talk about later and says he feels 10 years younger. But here's the relief you've been waiting for. Once you know the 4 simple fishes to avoid forever, the rest is easy, and I'm about to show you the short, foolproof rule that keeps you safe every time you shop journals. PLOS. Or let me put it plain and simple so you can carry this in your pocket forever. The 4 fishes that are quietly robbing energy, memory, and heart strength after 65 are tilapia, the inflammation bomb with more bad fat than a donut; swordfish, the mercury-loaded steak that can stop a senior heart cold; big tuna steak, Sevson, and albacore cans, the brain shrinker research suggests speeds up forgetting names and faces; farmed Atlantic salmon, the antibiotic and dye-stuffed version that wrecks your gut when you need it most. That's it. 4 fishes, easy to remember. And here's the 5-second rule that keeps you safe for the rest of your life. Only eat fish that are small or from cold, clean waters. Thinks my smart sardines, mackerel, anchovies, wild salmon, Alaskan, and herring. Small fish or Alaskan wild. If it doesn't fit that, skip it. Leading omega-3 experts who've spent decades on this suggest that if every senior followed the SMASH rule, we'd see heart attacks and strokes drop dramatically in our age group. I started doing it myself 3 years ago, and my blood pressure and energy are better now at 72 than they were at 62. Now, let's flip the page to the good stuff. The first fish on the eat this every week list is the one that actually builds stronger bones and drops blood pressure faster than any pill, and even leading experts call it a top longevity food from the blue zones. Stay with me because you'll want this on your plate tonight. Here's the fish I want you to fall in love with: wild Alaskan salmon, the real stuff, deep red, caught in ice, cold Pacific waters. This isn't the pale farmed version we just talked about. This is the one people in the blue zones, those places where folks regularly live past 100s, eat several times a week. Leading experts have looked at the research and suggested that wild salmon is a powerful food for reducing inflammation, protecting your brain, and keeping blood pressure in the sweet spot as we age. One portion gives you over 2,000 mybuji of EPA and DHA, those special omega-3s, plus a big shot of vitamin D and astaxanthin, nature's strongest antioxidant. Studies have shown that seniors eating wild salmon regularly may drop their systolic blood pressure and experience less brain shrinkage over time. My own doctor ran my numbers last month and said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. All I did was swap the junk fish for 2 wild salmon dinners a week. I bake it, grill it, or poach it with lemon and herbs. Takes 10 minutes and tastes like heaven. But here's where it gets even better. There's a tiny fish that actually beats salmon gram for gram on omega-3 and costs pennies. And leading experts say it's a smart choice for any senior who wants less pain and a happier mood. Pub NCB. No, nee. Gov PMC next B. Nee. Gov, here's the little guy that's become my secret weapon sardines, fresh, or as my grandkids call them, Grandpa's magic fish. These tiny powerhouses pack more omega-3 per bite than salmon, plus they're loaded with calcium because you eat the soft, edible bones. Perfect for us when bone density starts slipping. Leading experts in longevity science have looked at the data and suggested that sardines are a top fish for anti-aging. They have a high concentration of EPA and DHA per calorie and almost zero mercury. Studies have followed seniors eating sardines regularly and found their blood markers for inflammation dropped and their mood scores improved. I keep a couple of cans of wild, caught sardines and olive oil or water in the pantry, no salt added. I mash them on toast, toss them in salad, or eat them straight with a little lemon and cracked pepper. Takes 30 seconds and I feel the difference in my knees and my energy the very next day. But wait until you hear about the fish that leading experts call the biggest longevity bargain on the planet. Almost no senior is eating it, yet it's cheaper than ground beef and protects your heart like nothing else on YouTube. Com PMC Nim. Nih. Gov, the fish almost nobody our age is eating but should be every single week is good old fashioned Atlantic mackerel. The small silvery one with the dark wavy lines. It's dirt cheap, usually under $3 a pound fresh or $1 a can, yet ounce for ounce it beats salmon and sardines for total omega-3. Leading experts have gone through thousands of studies and suggested that mackerel is a top food for longevity. It has a strong fat profile, almost no mercury, and high levels of EPA and DHA of any affordable fish. Studies have tracked people over 70 eating mackerel regularly and found fewer heart events and better balance and walking speed. That means fewer falls, more independence, more mornings playing with grandkids instead of sitting on the sidelines. I buy the frozen fillets or the cans in tomato sauce, no junk added, and throw them on the grill or warm them in a pan with a little garlic and lemon. 10 minutes and dinner is done. My blood pressure dropped 12 points the year. I started eating mackerel regularly, and my doctor actually asked me what pill I was on. None. We've got just one more fish to talk about. The delicious wild one that gives you sunshine vitamin D. Even in winter, steadies your heartbeat and tastes like you're on vacation. And I'll give you my 3-minute recipe you'll use for the rest of your life. Medical news today. Calm, and the final fish I want every one of you eating at least once a week is wild Pacific herring, or its close cousin, Alaskan pollock when herring isn't around. This is the fish that kept fishermen alive for centuries, rich, buttery, and loaded with more natural vitamin D than almost anything in the grocery store. One small portion gives you 150% of your daily D. The sunshine vitamin most of us over 65 are low in, plus sky high omega-3 that steadies your heartbeat like a metronome. Leading lipid researchers have suggested that if seniors replaced processed meat with herring regularly, we'd see drops in atrial fibrillation and sudden death risks. My own heart doctor told me last year my arrhythmia episodes stopped the same month I started eating herring regularly. Here's my dead simple 3-minute recipe. Take a fresh or thawed herring fillet, sprinkle with salt, pepper, and a squeeze of lemon, pan, sear it skin side down for 2 minutes, flip for 1 minute. Done. Crispy skin, juicy inside, tastes like the grandkids fight over the leftovers. So there you have it, my friend. Drop tilapia, swordfish, big tuna steaks, and farm salmon forever. Bring in wild Alaskan salmon, sardines, mackerel, and herring, and you've just handed yourself extra healthy years with the people you love most. If this helped even a little, do 2 quick favors for an old man. Hit that subscribe button so we can keep walking this road together, and drop a quick "I'm in the comments so I know you're taking care of yourself. See you in the next one. Stay strong, stay independent, and I'll save you a seat at the table.